Hello students, class 8th. Today we are going to start with our third chapter of geography, that is natural resources and natural vegetation and wildlife. See, we have already done what do you mean by resources. So according to the definition of resources, the things which are useful to us and we are dependent on them directly or indirectly are resources. Here we are talking about resources which are given to us by nature directly, which includes your natural vegetation and wildlife. I hope you understand what do you mean by vegetation. Vegetation, whatever natural things we see around us, plants, eatable plants and crops, fruits, vegetables, everything includes in that. And the animals which are living in these natural vegetation, or you can say surrounding of the nature, are called wildlife. Animals, which includes animals, insects, birds, microorganism, etc. Okay, so this is the chapter all about and we are going to learn in detail. So let's open your chapter, that is on page number 128. Here the first definition is about the plants which grow naturally are known as natural vegetation. Means there is no interference of human beings in that. Human beings are not growing any plants. All the plants are grown naturally, and that includes all types of vegetation, shrubs, herbs, trees, all sorts of plants in shape, size, etc. Now the next definition is wildlife, which refers to all plants, animals, birds and organisms which live in the natural habitat. Here we are talking about plants as well as animals and the relationship between the two. Okay, so the third definition which we are talking about here is called biosphere. Natural vegetation and wildlife are found in the narrow zone where the lithosphere and hydrosphere and atmosphere meet and interact. Here they are talking about three new terms, you must be aware of it. Lithosphere means land, hydrosphere means water, atmosphere means air. So that means all the organism living all these layers include and make it one system is called biosphere. I hope you must have cleared what is biosphere, right? And the third thing that we are going to see here, the next definition is ecosystem. Ecosystem means dependence on each other. The previous definition was talking about living organism. Now the relationship among all of us, we are directly and indirectly depend on each other, is called ecosystem. So according to this, animals kingdom interact with each other. They are also interdependent on each other for their survival. The interaction between the organism and the physical environment is called ecosystem, right? So this is your the third definition of the class which you have to mention in your copies. Fine. Now there are certain important features on that which we'll talk about in detail, that what does ecosystem provide us. So it provides natural habitat for animals, it produces oxygen, it protects soil from leaching. Leaching here means to wear off, means खराब हो जाना, उसका टूट जाना is called leaching या waste हो जाना. Next, helps to store water underground. So whatever water we fetch out from the underground, because of the natural ecosystem, it includes the water cycle. It helps in producing more rainfall, and that rainfall goes inside the earth, which helps us in getting the water later on with the help of wells, ponds, tube wells, etc. And the next one is provide a large variety of products from the trees. So you can see the entire ecosystem provides us so many things. It provides us oxygen, wood, it helps in growth of plants, etc. So here we have seen this entire concept and the few definitions of natural vegetations. Now let us talk about its distribution. How are they distributed? So have you visited any place in India? Have you seen Shimla? Have you seen Kerala? So both are in opposite direction. One is in North India and one is in South India. And these two areas have different vegetations and they have different wildlife, or you can say they have different ecosystem. So that we are going to understand here. right? So distribution of natural vegetation is not evenly distributed, सब जगह एक जैसी चीजें नहीं हैं. So here we have categorized them into three broader category, which is called forest, one, second grassland, and third is shrubs, right? So here we are going to understand all of them individually. So let us start from the forest. Before that, please look at the map which is given on page number 129. Right? In this world map, you can see equator is being drawn in the center of the globe, and above equator and little below from equator, the region is called tropical region. Okay, and it is beyond that, a little beyond that, the region is known as temperate region, and the last area which has Arctic Ocean is called frigid zone. Hence, the entire globe is divided into three major zones: tropical zone, which is around the equator, and beyond, little beyond, we have temperate, and just end of the globe is called your frigid zone. So, according to these three zones, the forests are different because the climate of all these three zones are different. Okay, so we are going to start from the first one, which is called forest of tropical region. You can see in the map easily, and you can also understand the pictures given in your book. The types of tropical plants which are found in these forests are basically ebony, mahogany, rosewood, rubber, ironwood, right? So these types of forest, or you can say trees, are found in tropical region, mainly around the equator zone of the entire globe, correct? And they are known as evergreen deciduous. Why so? Evergreen means always green, never shed their leaves, all the time they are green. And if the water around the equator is available, so green plants are there. And somewhat if water is not there, I mean to say that there is a lack of river water, or you can say seaside, ocean side, the area would be that area will have deciduous plants, or you can say forest. So in tropical region we have two types of forest: evergreen and deciduous. You can learn their names from this. Now let us move little ahead of it, which is found in temperate region. Okay, so as I've told you, the tropical region is around equator, 0 to 30 degrees latitudes, both side of south, southern and northern hemisphere. And beyond that, 30 to 60 degree latitudes, we have temperate region, which has forest called deciduous forest. They are called deciduous forest, which shed their leaves few months in the year, right? And the names are given: oak, ash, beech, poplar, elm, pine, right? And you can also see Mediterranean region is given here. You can see in the Google also where is Mediterranean sea line, sea is there, and around that area is called temperate region. Here you have popular trees which are most demanded in the world are olive, cork, oak and stone, correct? Now we have the third category, which is called the taiga region. So here it is written clearly, they are found in 50-degree north to 70-degree north latitude, correct? And they are known as coniferous forest. Their trees, they are green, tall, have straight trunk with needle shaped leaves, and their names are uh, larch, right? And there is an undergrowth also. Only one or two tree species are found in pure island. So the main trees are found in taiga are also larch, redwood, stika, doggle fir, etc. Fine. So this was the third type of a forest that is found according to the latitudes. Now let us see what is grassland. Grassland, as the name saying, grasses. You can see some pictures given on page number 130. So you will not find here large and tall trees. You will see only grasses. Why are the grasses here? Actually, grasses are found in the frigid zone, correct? And these grasslands are found in Antarctica. These are the extreme location of the globe where you have less sunlight. Due to less sunlight, trees cannot be grown. Okay, so only grasses are found here. However, there are certain tropical grassland also which are found in different parts of the world. So where here we are going to see tropical grassland. So grassland here are given of two types, tropical as well as temperate. So tropical grasslands are found between the equatorial forest and the tropical desert. These areas receives moderate rainfall during the summer. So simple factor is this to understand grassland is that they receive very less rainfall. Less rainfall around the equator or less rainfall towards the poles. Okay, anyhow, if there is a less rainfall, you will not find trees, you will not find forest, you will always find grasses. So tropical grassland, one of the good example is savanna, which is given here. They are found in almost every continent. Okay, and the animals those who are living here are basically camels, which are easily accommodated to this kind of atmosphere. Fine. Next we are moving to the temperate grassland. Again the latitude will remain the same for the forest as well as for the grassland. In grassland also 30 to 55 degree of latitude in both the hemisphere, up in northern and as well as in southern. So grasses are found, and some of the popular names are prairies of America, pampas in South America, steppes in Eurasia, velds in South Africa. Okay, so carefully, if you take help of the Google and find out them in the Google map, so you will have better idea where are they found. Major thing that you have to remember is that entire globe is divided into three zones, repeating: tropical, temperate and frigid. In all these three zones you have forest, and in all three zones you have grasslands, in all three zones you have shrubs. So you have to just learn where are grasslands found, where are forest found, and where are shrubs are found. Okay, so basic fundamental will remain the same. Let us move to the shrubs. Shrubs, as you know, are the plants which are called sort of a cactus type, which has thorny bushes, coarse grass. Okay, so desert vegetation में जो shrubs होते हैं, they're hot and dry desert found in tropical and subtropical region. And in tundra vegetation you will find in northern hemisphere in high latitude. As I mentioned, high latitudes here means above 60-degree longitudes, right? In both the hemisphere, and they are known Eurasia. Eurasia is basically the area of Russia and Australia. Fine, so this is the area here in North America also where you will find these kind of shrubs. So majorly here we have covered types of forest, types of grasslands, types of shrubs found on the globe in different zones, in different temperate, tropical and frigid zone, that you have to remember according to the country wise. Now the most important thing is that if we will not save, conserve these natural resources, do you think that we can survive? We cannot survive, right? So what is happening? We are using them, means we are using these forest, we are using these grasslands, shrubs and even animals. We are killing animals for multiple uses. We are killing them, we are destroying them for our benefits. Our means human beings benefit, not the benefit of the nature. What is happening? What is the outcome of it? Lot of pollution, lot of global warming, lot of issues of diseases are found across the globe. This COVID-19 time period, you can also see what has happened because of not helping the nature or not accommodating with the nature. So it is very important to conserve the natural vegetation. So major issue is of deforestation, you are all aware of it. Okay, so what can we do? So some points which are given in the end, you can read on this topic, very easy to understand. We need to protect the forest reserves, increase the area under forest cover, means we should give space to grow natural forest. Discouraging the practice of shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation means people destroy the forest, then they grow. means because of land is lacking, population is more, to grow more food they are clearing the forest. So stop doing that. Protecting forests from the fires, planting adequate trees to make provision for future needs, and encouraging social forestry. Social forestry here means group has to be involved, entire villages, people have to be involved, so we can grow, better forest. And that forest is not for the current generation. Here we are talking about the future generation. It is very important to conserve the natural vegetation. In geography, every chapter will talk about some sort of a conservation, and conservation is of what? To the resources. Somewhere you will conserve water, somewhere you have to conserve animals, vegetations, soil, etc. So in the end, why are we learning them in the books? We are not doing it ourselves. That is why books are made for us. However, conservation and protection should be part of our life. Now we are going to see about the wildlife. Wildlife means the animals, those who are living in these forest grasslands. Okay, so we have divided them according to the, again, the zones: temperate zone, tropical zone, frigid zone. And animals, those who are found here, are different. Correct. So let us move to Africa. I hope you must know where is Africa located on the globe. If you don't know, please open any Google map, or do you have globe with you? Look at that. Where is Africa? So Africa is a rich wildlife which includes elephants, hippopotamus, rhinos, pythons, crocodiles, gorillas, apes, and chimpanzees, right? And they are close to equatorial forest. So these animals are found in equatorial forests, which are again known as tropical forest, close to the equator. Let us move to the South America. Find out where it is South America in the globe or the map, wherever you can find it. Fine. So here we have rhea, is a flightless bird like ostrich. Means flightless bird means they don't have wings, and they fly also. Condor is the largest bird of prey in the world. Anteaters and armadillos are ancient mammals of South America. You can see some of them are given in your book, beautiful pictures. You have to just learn their names. Where are they found? Alligators, giant turtles, jaguar, etc. And next, move to the Australia. Where it is? Australia lies where? Towards which side of your country? Please remember them carefully. Kangaroos, koalacs, platypus, emus, lyrebirds, and cucurbites are important animals found in these areas. Fine. Let's move to the Europe. Europe is basically lying in temperate and frigid zone. So the animals are having wool in the body: bears, wolves, wild boars, wild sheep, antelopes, minks, ermines, cuckoos are important one. Now move to the North America. Reindeer, musk, oxen, sable, mooses, bison. These are important animals of North America. Let's move to the Asia, the our country, and which animals are found here? Sloth, leopards, tigers, elephants, lions. So these are important animals of area where we live, our country lies. And in Antarctica, which is full of snow, here we find penguins, snow petrels, seals, albatrosses, right? So these are found in the very coldest places. They're found at very cold places. Okay, and in the end we are going to talk about their conservation as well. So it is important to conserve forests. Same way it is important to conserve wildlife also. So here we have one organization, CITEC, as an international body, right? And which stands for Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, which is written here. You can read on. They say that conservation of wildlife and forests have to go together, as the existence of animals depends largely on forest. They prohibit the trade of product made from the endangered wildlife. Even they punish people also, those who practice. Why do people kill animals? Have you ever thought of it? Because of their skin, for their nails, for their teeth, for their horns, and their uses for their multiple purposes, right? See, if you are killing anyone for your luxury, means for the clothes you want to wear, the belts, the purses, shoes you want to wear, I think this is inhuman, right? You are killing someone just because of your luxury. You want to enjoy life. This is not good at all. So this is punishable. Nowadays all the countries have realized the importance of wildlife. So for that conservation, they have made wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, biosphere reserves. I hope you must have visited few of them somewhere near your area. So it is very very important to conserve wildlife as well as vegetation.